So you just got our mummy Yelan after a long wait of Genshin Impact drop season, with MiHoYo constantly drip marketing Yelan, and her passionate ways of doing her secret job just makes us thirstier as the day goes by. But now she's finally here and she's an absolutely fantastic character to use. For anyone who's still trying to get Yelan, I am sending you my greatest luck that you will be able to get her soon enough. Now, as most of you might have been aware, Yelan is a character that is quite similar to Xingqiu, in which most of the time is considered to be a support off-field DPS character, since most of the time we're focusing on having their burst up and to provide hydro application for the team and more off-field damage. But I know that you Yelan strip out there, you would want to have Yelan as an on-field DPS character, which is why we have today's video looking into how good is Yelan as an on-field DPS at her C0, and as well as her DPS build, because the build can be quite different to her normal support build that many of you have been shown up there. Now, if you're new to the channel guys, I usually make guides video especially for free-to-play players, helping you make the best decision when playing Genshin Impact. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss out, and it is also a free way of supporting me to get to 20,000 subscribers a lot faster. Either way, I really appreciate every one of you, and with that, let's just jump into the video. Now, Yelan's kits and skills are really straightforward. First of all, the most important note that you want to remember is that attack percentage on Yelan will basically not provide buff to most of her skills, apart from her normal attack scaling, and then the rest will scale with HP only. Her normal attack has 4 combo string with okay scaling but fantastic animation. She can also do charge shots, but you will probably never use it because there's a breakthrough state that she enters once every 5 seconds that decreases 80% of her charge time while also deals AoE hydro damage. Now, I say once every 5 seconds because even though it is said that she enters it while out of combo, I've tested this, and even while she's doing her combo she still gets the state. But it is not something that you will be relying on most of the time. However, you can make pretty good use of this for hydro application during Yelan's burst downtime, or a continuation of your combo string, or dealing an accurate AoE vaporize damage if you want to. Her E skills is very simple. She runs through her enemies, tying them down with her ropes and dealing hydro damage at the end. You can either tap or hold it for a longer period of time. It's very simple skill, however a very interesting one at that as well, because aside from damage capability, it's a very good skills for overworld traveling, as her E skills allows her to run very fast while turning invisible, which looks really cool. Want to help an old man collect his mushroom with high speed? Yelan got you covered. Want to rush to your destination faster without worrying about stamina? Yelan got you covered as well. Want to scare the shit out of Catherine whenever you collect your commission? Yelan's specialty got you covered as well. Though for me personally, her E skills is basically the most fun part of her kit. As for her burst, it's basically Xingqiu that scales with HP. The difference here is that it's only 70 energy requirement, which is actually pretty huge for someone who do want to have burst up most of the time, and it goes for 15 seconds with only 3 second cooldown, which is pretty good. As for her passive, they are good also. You get HP boost depending on how many different elements you have on the team. Normally I'd only recommend you to go up to 3 elements so that you don't really have to stress out too much on 4 elements unless you really like the team you're building around that. And her second passive provides up to 50% damage bonus for the active character. Do take notice of the active character part, because only the on-field character will have this buff, which means it doesn't snapshot once the character is switched out. A prime example is Xiangling burst. Will get Yelan's buff while Xiangling is on the field, but the moment she is switched out, her burst loses the buff. So that's a quick in-depth look into Yelan's skills, but the main part of the video is to look into Yelan's DPS capability. Now, if you're a Yelan main, you probably already know how insanely Yelan C6 turns her into an on-field DPS. Literally annihilate everything and hands down one of the better C6 constellation out there. But what about C0? And the short answer is yes, Yelan at C0 is also a very good DPS if you want to build her as one. Well, technically any character in the game can be a good DPS, however some requires you to have good support. When I refer to Yelan being a good on-field DPS, it means that even when she is soloing, her damage capability is still really good. The main reason comes down to her kit support her on this really well. Even when her kit is focused on providing good support for the whole team, Yelan can also get the boost. She can still make use of her passive talent Talent 2 that provides up to 50% damage bonus. Her passive ones still work even when you go solo, as well as her charge attack breakthrough state will now be used more frequently because she is on field most of the time. So in a sense, you're utilizing everything that Yelan has in her kit to turn her into as good of a DPS as possible. However, there can be slight difference when you're building a Yelan main DPS versus a team support. First one is, remember when I said attack percentage won't work for Yelan most of the time? Now that she is a DPS character, attack percentage stats won't entirely go to waste because you'll be using her normal attack most of the time as well. It's physical damage but scales with attack percentage, so any substat you have on attack percentage now can be put into decent use. But that doesn't mean that we'll focus on attack percentage in artifacts. We'll still be using HP percentage most of the time because that's where Yelan's main damage output is from. For artifacts, there can be slight changes. While generally her BIS option is the Emblem Fate for really good burst numbers. That's her best option when it comes to support Yelan, and you can also use this for main DPS build as well. However, it's no fun for a DPS character when all of your stats are focused on burst damage, right? You may want to spread that for your other skills as well, because remember her breakthrough charge shot and her E skills all scales with HP. Emblem sets won't provide any buff to this, thus you have to focus a lot on energy recharge onto Yelan if you want to make good use of the set. Therefore, right now the better option you can go with is 2-piece Noblesse with 2-piece Tenacity. That gives burst damage increase without needing to focus on energy recharge and a 20% HP boost for damage output across all of Yelan's skill. Furthermore, 2-piece builds are generally easier for you to get better stats. Also take note that 4-piece Noblesse won't work as well for a Yelan main DPS because the 4-piece boost only increase 20% attack, which isn't optimal for Yelan as she scales with HP. As for weapons, they can still generally be the same of all of her other builds, just give Yelan the best option you've got for her, because if you're having Yelan as a main DPS, you'll probably already want to invest in her builds. But generally, you can turn away a bit from support weapon like Favonius or Sack Bow and those kind of bows that give energy recharge, and focus on the ones that can give HP like the Recurve Bow. The crit ratio options and the EM options are all very good ones that you can use for DPS Yelan. As for Yelan's energy recharge level, usually in the team you've already got good support option for providing particles, so Yelan would want to get at least around 150% energy for a constant burst uptime. The 70 energy requirement actually have helped us quite a lot here in this case. As for talents, it's pretty simple. Since you're having her as a main DPS, you'd want to have all 3 of the skills go as high as possible. Now, I've also heard a lot of questions asking on which playstyle is best for Yelan, and as we've just had a look into her builds and kits, Yelan can be a very decent DPS. So generally, what's best for Yelan is actually how you want to use her and how you build your team. Her support build can actually be used for DPS many of the time and vice versa. So at the end of the day, it's down to player preferences. Just go ahead and use the character to however you feel like it. So Yelan is definitely an absolutely fantastic character because she functions quite similar to Xingqiu, yet provides you even more damage boost with her skill. She's very fun to play, especially as a main DPS, because her animation is absolutely fantastic and feels very fluid. Should definitely be a very good use on all of your team. That said, she's not a must pull mainly because of how similar she is to Xingqiu, and she's more of a character preferences for many of the players. So if you're someone who already got a high constellation Xingqiu, I would generally recommend you to save your primos for other future character if you're having trouble with saving primo gems. And so I hope that the video have been very helpful to you. And if you're new to the channel guys, be sure to subscribe, as in some of the next video I'll be going through some of Yelan's best team. So turn on your notification to not miss out on the next video. And with that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next videos.